people that actively work to smuggle Jews out of Europe, who did all kinds of, there are several very famous individuals of mass extermination in industrial fashion, and this is really what's maybe unique about the Holocaust, although there were other cases even after the Holocaust of genocide. And the gates of the land of Israel were blocked by the British. The British didn't let the Jews come here. Starting in 1937, there were very strict limitations as to the amount of people that... Two of these righteous of the Gentiles that were honored by Yad Vashem were diplomats. One was of Japan and the other one was of Portugal, that issued visas. The problem of the Jews is that they saw what's coming, they had the money, they wanted to save themselves, and the entire Jewry of Bulgaria was saved by those people.
Oh, where? 女兵啊？ Female soldiers.
他们女的也要当兵的。女的当兵。对，yeah. Puncture.
Female soldiers.
花木兰。
花木兰。
男的女的也看不清楚了。上面了。
女兵。女兵。
that was coming to Auschwitz. And we know so much about Auschwitz, unlike the other death camps, because in Auschwitz there was an option of work, not an option that was given to you. It wasn't your option. But in the other death camps, you just arrived, and within an hour or two, everybody were gone. So we have very few survivors that can tell us about the other camps. In Auschwitz, once you got to the train station there, you would get off the train and you will be separated to the line of the men, the line of the women. And this family comes to Auschwitz, it's a father, a mother, a grandmother, and a child between 1 to 2 years old. The man is being sent to the men's line, the women and the child and the grandmother are going to the women's side. The man is getting to the selection, and it's being done by a medical staff of the Germans, and he's being sent, he's fit, he's being sent to work. The mother and the grandmother and the child are going to this selection, and in the last minute before they're getting there, the mother, she doesn't know how to explain this, but she's moving the home, she's handing the baby to the grandmother. She didn't know that back then, but she by that saved herself, because if she would arrive there with the baby on her hand, they both would be sent straight to the gas chambers. The grandmother would have been sent to the gas chambers anyway, because she was an elderly woman. So by moving the baby from her homes to the homes of the grandmother, she saved herself. She was sent to work. The mother and the grandson, the baby that was in the grandmother's hand, was sent with the grandmother to the gas chamber, and within an hour, they both were murdered. This is very unusual, but both the father and the mother survived the work camp at Auschwitz. The conditions there were terrible, and once you were not fit anymore, you were sent to be killed, but they both survived it. After the war, they met again, and they restarted their life in America. They did well, and they wanted to build a memorial for their son Uziel. Yad Vashem doesn't do individual memorials, but they said, you know, we'll take this as an opportunity to build a memorial for the 1.5 million children. Can you imagine this number? There were children in some of the transportation that was sent to the death camps from the ghettos. There are trains that were sent children only. Children were separated from their families, and we have a list of names. It's in the museum, by the way. A list of names of a whole train that is from 6 months old to 14, 15, all crammed together in these cattle cars, traveling through the winter in Eastern Europe for days to the death camps. So we have 1.5 million, and the way they did it was to bring the names again. It's around the name. And when we walk in, it's all dark around. It's all mirrors that reflect the light of 3 candles. So it's like almost endless number of candles blinking in the space over there, and they're repeating the names of those of the children that we know the names of. We talked about the problematic sort of aspect of, in some cases, we don't even have the names for these people, and it's just that we're gonna walk through this. It's not, you know, a place to. It's not a museum. It's an emotional experience. We're gonna walk through this space and end up in the other end. Okay, so let's move up together. 18 to 26 that are being brought. Right, it's birthright. It's a program of the Israeli government and some Jewish sort of wealthy donors that sponsored this program of bringing over Jewish kids free of charge, 10 days tour of Israel, to strengthen their sort of Jewish identity and background. It's one of those programs, and many of the youth that are coming here are from these groups. So we're here right in front of the memorial. This whole section here is about the children, like this memorial up there, you know, up there, the pillars that are lined up like, it's like a school year, you know, photograph, kind of. And it's all chopped off, kind of. There are many other memorials around. We're going to walk through this one. It's all dark, so hold to the rail and do it slowly. Twist your eyes to get to the dark there, and you'll hear the names being recited in 3 languages: Hebrew, English, and so we're going to walk in. The face right at the end of the tunnel is of this particular child, Uziel. This is not only a memorial for him. This is a memorial for the 1.5 million that were murdered. As we step in, we'll see some other pictures of some other kids, and then the names through the holes with the candles. Poland, and he came up with some revolutionary ideas about, in the 20s it was, that kids or children need to be treated with a lot of respect, that they're sort of people, although they're small, they have to be listened to, have to be taken into consideration their wishes and their will. This was a very, at the time, very sort of new concept. In this period in the life of the Jewish people, many of them arrived to the United States in this period, in the 2 last decades of the 19th century and the first decade of the 20th century. Over 2 million Jews immigrated to America. That was open engine. There were these fumes up in the air, this anti-Semitism throughout these decades. The Jewish people was in the move, people were already here, but he was like the spark that started it all. When he died, everything was in motion already. So we're going to go off the bus and go up a little bit further uphill to visit the grave and the surroundings, and we're going to be back on the bus to drive to the Israel Museum. The family has somebody that they lost in one of these wars or in terrorist attacks and stuff like that. And it's very, very emotional. And the fact that these two are attached together, Memorial Day and Independence Day. Memorial Day is like this country is in a, you know, you can really sense it in the air. The grief and the sorrow, and then over here there's this very, you know, there is this ceremony here with all the dignifiers and everything, and then at 8, when the day is over, there are big celebrations starting from here.